Welcome to the weekly briefing of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers, where we aim to provide journalists with an update on the latest developments at the court and the opportunity to ask questions. Mr. Isni Kilaj was released in Kosovo yesterday under strict conditions pursuant to the decision of a single judge of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers taken on the 3rd of May 2024. This decision was subsequently upheld by a KSC Court of Appeals panel on the 13th of May. In his decision, the single judge found that a grounded suspicion remains that Mr. Kilaj committed, alone or together with others, offenses against the administration of justice. The single judge also found that a moderate risk of flight continues to exist, as well as a risk that Mr. Kilaj may obstruct the progress of criminal proceedings and commit further crimes. He further found that none of the conditions put forth by the defense for Mr. Kilaj, nor any other conditions imposed by the single judge, could fully restrict Mr. Kilaj's ability to obstruct the progress of KSC proceedings and commit further offenses. However, the single judge concluded that extending Mr. Kilaj's detention at this time would be unreasonable, having duly considered his presumption of innocence and right to liberty in the light of new developments. The single judge considered that 1, Mr. Kilaj had been detained for nearly 6 months, 2, the offenses for which Mr. Kilaj is considered a suspect carry a possible penalty between 1 and 5 years, and 3, a recent request by the Specialist Prosecutor's Office for the single judge to suspend his consideration of the submitted indictment, given the SPO's intent to submit an amended indictment, substantially delays the timeline of proceedings. Therefore, the single judge decided that the risks that would result from Mr. Kilaj's release do not outweigh his fundamental right to liberty. Although he has been released, Mr. Kilaj remains a suspect in KSC proceedings, and his release is subject to strict conditions imposed by the single judge, including providing bail in the amount of 30,000 euros, not leaving the territory of Kosovo unless permitted by a competent panel of the KSC, reporting on a weekly basis to the Kosovo police, refraining from public statements to the media and/or on social media regarding the KSC, the SPO, and/or any KSC proceedings, attending any hearing required by the KSC, and abiding by any other decisions or orders of the courts. The single judge emphasized that should any of the conditions not be met, a warrant would be immediately issued for Mr. Kilaj's arrest. For more information, public redacted versions of the decision of the single judge and the decision of the Court of Appeals panel related to Mr. Kilaj's conditional release can be found on the KSC website. In the Thaci et al. Case, the trial panel on the 10th of May granted in part a request by the defense for an extension of time to respond to a request by the prosecution, including additional materials in the exhibits list. The materials in question are related to a witness whom the prosecution intends to call to testify between June and July of this year. On the 14th of May, the trial panel in the same case granted a request by the prosecution for a witness to testify via video conference, noting security risks and other factors raised by the prosecution. The judges also altered the schedule for the witness's planned testimony on the 27th and the 28th of May. In the same case, on 15th of May, in separate decisions, the trial panel ordered the continued detention of Recep Salimi and Jakub Krasniqi, finding for both accused that there is a continued risk that they will obstruct the progress of proceedings or commit further crimes against those perceived as being opposed to the KLA, including witnesses who have provided or could provide evidence in the case and/or are due to appear before the Kosovo Specialist Chambers. The judges also concluded that it is only through the communication monitoring framework applicable at the KSC detention facilities that the communications of the accused can be restricted in a manner that would sufficiently mitigate the risks of obstruction and commission of further crimes. The next trial hearing in this case is scheduled for Tuesday, the 21st of May, starting at 9 a.m. In the case of Sabit Yanusi, Ismet Batiari, and Haji Shala, on the 13th and 14th of May, the registrar notified the pretrial judge of the conditional assignment of Dr. Felicity Gary as counsel to Ismet Batiari and of Mr. Toby Cadman as counsel to Haji Shala. Following requests from both counsel for legal aid under the KSC's legal aid regulations.